Hello, my name is Chrissy Hodges, and thank you for joining me today, whether this is live on Facebook, which it is right now, or even on my YouTube channel. It is day number 2 of OCD Awareness Week. I'm so excited. I'm doing exactly what I did last year, which is making one video per day during the week to be able to bring some light to some of the issues that aren't talked about a lot of times when it comes to OCD. In particular, the type of OCD that I live with and what my channel is mostly focused on, which is called community-based pure OCD, but typically deals with sexual, violent, blasphemous, intrusive thoughts, and people deal with mental compulsions. So first, I would like to say I feel so fortunate to be able to travel to different cities this week and last, to be able to talk about OCD, to be able to meet so many people with OCD, and to be able, for myself, not only just me knowing I'm not alone, but meeting other people and them knowing when they're meeting all these people in these presentations that they don't have to suffer alone. And I know it feels alone, but we aren't. One of the interesting comments I've gotten several times, especially about my videos, so I'm just going to put it out there and you know who you are because I'm giving you a shout out right now, is people when they meet me or watch my videos and comment, they'll say things like, "You can't have OCD because you laugh so much," or "You're happy," and people, you know, it doesn't make sense. So one of my people even said, "I thought you were a fraud at first." Now, okay, I'm not a fraud in that sense, and of course, like, no, I mean, I'm not a fraud in any sense, but what I'm saying is that, I know it might seem like that. I have a very, you know what I have? I have this way of, I deflect things with humor and laughing. I have to find that in the severity of a lot of what we talk about here, and especially on my channel. Some of that stuff gets deep, you know, and it's like, okay, how can I break the ice here? Somebody's got to laugh, and I'm here alone laughing. So anyway, I know it may seem like it can't be possible that someone can be laughing and joking and happy when it comes to OCD, but I am. Number one, because I'm in recovery and have been for 19 years. But number two, that's just how I relate to life in general. And thank you, Felice. That's how I relate to life in general. And that's how I have come to be able to communicate about these deep topics of OCD that are super scary to talk about sometimes because we are afraid of judgment. But apparently I'm not afraid of looking like a fraud. You know who you are. Anyway, no big deal. Today I want to talk about Happy OCD Awareness Week. I have not posted my other video because I'm having some issues because I did it on Mental Health on the Mighty, but I did tell my lived experience with OCD, so it's going to be emetophobia, HOCD, and scrupulosity. I will post that as soon as I can, and I will also post it to YouTube as soon as I can. But today I'm going to talk about HOCD or denial. Oh, horrible topic, right? I mean, horrible in the way where you're like, oh, I don't want to watch this video, but I do want to watch this video. And what if this video tells me that I am in denial? What if this video tells me that I am this or I'm not this or whatever? Well, I'll just go ahead and clear that up for you now. You know, I'm no nonsense when it comes to reassurance. So if you're clicking on this video to get reassurance, just know that you're probably not going to get it. However, I am here to talk about that topic in general and how tough it can be pushing through that obstacle in order to get help. How tough it can be pushing through that obstacle in order to believe that you have OCD. So for many of you that are joining, you may not even know what I'm talking about, any of this stuff. So I'm just going to quickly throw out the basics and then I'm going to get into the topic at hand. OCD, the type that I have and the type that many people have, that's commonly referred to as pure OCD, tends to have sexual, violent, blasphemous, intrusive thoughts. Sometimes they're health-related, relationship-related, things where you're doing mental compulsions, avoidance, rumination, prayer rituals, reassurance seeking, things of that nature. A great example would be I always give this example. If you've seen my videos before, you know, what if I thought about my parents naked or having sex? Nobody wants to think about that. And if they do, they don't have OCD and they have something else. And, anyway, that is a sexual intrusive thought. Someone with OCD will latch onto that thought and go, why did I just think that? What if that means something? Why can't I stop thinking about, oh gosh, and now I'm picturing it, and oh, I don't want to. Well, these thoughts burrow inside of you. And I'm talking for years. You develop these compulsions that come along with these horrific, scary thoughts. And the compulsions bring immediate relief. So you almost, and I had this conversation tonight earlier, you feel that almost urge. It's almost an addiction to wanting to get that feeling of feeling better, which is what compulsions provide. Temporary relief, but that is it. That's all they provide. So this is what HOCD, this is what pure OCD is, okay? So with this, there are certain themes. They're all OCD. They aren't separate. They aren't treated separate, and any can be treated with exposure response prevention. But the one that I experienced, and I'm going to explain it to you, so if you've never heard it, you might think that it's homophobia, but it's not. Homosexual OCD. That's what it's termed, even though it is OCD and there's a fear of turning gay. Now, let me tell you something. This has nothing to do with what people think about individuals that are gay or homosexuals in general. Nothing. In fact, most of the people that I know that suffer with this theme of OCD, they could care less. They just want people to be happy. There is no political or moral issue or anything. It is just, I'm a girl. I got that theme and I just don't want vagina. Like, there it is. Like, I don't want it, but I can't stop worrying that if I thought that I might turn that way, that what if I have to be? So that's what it looks like. Sorry to get so graphic. But along with that also comes and I'm going to get into this in a minute and into more depth, into the what if I really don't have OCD and these thoughts are real? Probably one of the most debilitating secondary fears that accompany what we're dealing with OCD. Why? We don't have a lot of physical proof when we have this type of OCD. I mean, we could tell you I'm ruminating 10 hours a day. You probably wouldn't believe us because we can still go about our day sometimes until depression and other things hit. But we don't have, our hands aren't raw from washing our hands. Our houses aren't impeccably clean. There isn't a lot of evidence that we're engaging in these compulsions. And so it's hard enough for us to think, do I really have OCD? Because even though I know I'm being tortured, nobody else can see it. And that stigma in itself is tough. That stigma in itself is scary to think I have to tell people what these horrific intrusive thoughts are, sexual, violent, or whatever the nature is. And they're going to think, oh, it's just a fleeting thought. And I can tell you, I'm doing compulsions 12 hours a day. You're not going to believe me. And so there are a lot of secondary fears, and that's one of the biggest is, what if I don't have OCD and these thoughts are real? What if I don't have OCD because there is no physical evidence that I do? In my work and in my experience, if you hear a cat meowing, he's walking around here. In my experience, I get it and I can totally relate. At my worst, I was doing compulsions up to 12 hours a day, and then I wasn't sleeping. So at night too, I was up all night worried and just saturated with anxiety, almost like I was wearing it like a robe. It was miserable. And one of the things that I suffered with was what I told you earlier, which was homosexual OCD. Again, not homophobia. I just had this weird thought. I thought that person was pretty, and did I just turn gay? And I worried about this for years, y'all. Years. Everything was proof or disproof, or and then I would have rational feelings of, I fell in love with people while I had this, but then I'm like, well, maybe I'm really not in love, and maybe I don't understand. And so then all of a sudden the thought comes in your brain, and here's the thing, it's your own brain turning against itself. That's what's so messed up. Sometimes I like to think there's this weird entity back here, like I have a face for it. Sean Chinook does the artwork, for anyone to be able to draw what their OCD looks like. I wish, I have what it looks like back here, some entity that comes in and takes over my brain. But here's the truth. It's really just your own brain. It's your thoughts taking over. And that's what is so terrifying about it. So when you get so deep into these fears, because OCD, and hear me out, OCD wants nothing than to keep you stuck. Nothing. That's its only goal. It only wants you to be miserable. It only wants you to doubt it. It only wants you stuck every day doubting that there's help and in depression. And it sucks, y'all. That's all I can say. It is a horrific, terrifying disorder. But what it will do is it digs into your psyche. It digs into your memories. It digs into the present. It digs into your emotion. Anything it can turn against you. So you will say, this is an OCD, so I'm not going to go get help. These obsessions have to be a reality. Now, why? Because they feel so real. That's the problem with sexual intrusive thoughts and violent intrusive thoughts. They feel real. Your body is reacting. You're feeling like you have an urge. You're sitting there at a red light and someone's crossing the road and you're sweating and you're like, what if I put my foot on the gas and I drive into this person and I don't want to, but it's taking everything in my being. Your adrenaline is going and you're going, I know I'm not this person, but what if I accidentally do? It feels so real. So what happens, and in this particular topic that I want to talk about, is it will twist you and turn you and go, you don't have HOCD. You're just in denial. And I know that a lot of people feel anxiety when they are in the closet. Actually, I have a lot of gay friends. And again, I have no issue with homosexuals or marriage equality for homosexuals at all. I can't help that this was my theme. This is just what happened. All those city stars aligned that day. And so I know there's anxiety when people are potentially coming out of the closet or contemplating or what it's going to be like. And so we start to associate. Well, I have anxiety because I'm just scared to come out of the closet. I'm just have anxiety because I'm just in denial. Maybe this is just how I've always been. For fear of saying or giving you reassurance, OCD is ego dystonic. So we have insight. We have the ability. And then I'm going to tell you, for those of you out there watching this and looking for more reassurance, you're going to turn that around too. And you're going to go, I don't have an insight. So it must not be OCD. So just to give you a warning, that's probably going to happen. But you have insight. You have that rationale of, this isn't what I want. It's not what I desire. Even though OCD will trick you into believing it is, to point to all signs to keep you miserable because it's going against what you actually want, you will start to say, I just believe that this is denial versus HOCD. And here's what I really want to drive home. And it's so frustrating for me, and also frustrating when I have to watch people going through this. We, as again, because it's ego dystonic, which means that it is, we have that insight that this is not real, this is not rational, and it doesn't reflect what we want, our desires, our character, or anything like that. But we still can't stop. The problem is that works against us. Typically, we're pretty intelligent human beings. We're very hyper aware. We're looking for everything, like how did my body react? What did I just see over there? How do I feel? What am I going to, do I have an urge? Did my groin just move? What am I doing? This and this. So we're always hyper aware. It's exhausting. But at the same time, instead of getting a physical diagnosis for a medical disorder and going, oh, look, I have this. Oh, thank goodness. And now I can get the treatment, right? You go, but maybe, I think I have OCD to 99%, but there's that 1% that I need to know. I just can't get on board until I'm 100% sure that this is OCD. And there is not that 1%. So you're chasing another pipe dream down the same tunnel with the obsession you're trying to prove. Just so you know. And it is maddening for us. It is maddening. Because it really is. Well, if it was OCD, I would just know, wouldn't I? I mean, because then I would just know it's OCD. I could just stop. No, that's not how it works. You can know you have diabetes. Can you just stop? Or can you just, will your pancreas to work right? No. You have to get treatment. You have to learn how to reprogram your body to work with an illness. And that's what we have to do too. But we can't accept it. You know why? Because we don't want to accept there's something wrong with our brain. And I say this all the time. Why? Because I walk outside. I'm in Colorado. It's really cold right now. Yes, I love the cold. I walk outside and my brain tells me this, Chrissy, it's cold, put on a jacket. And I go, thank you, brain. I'm going to put on a jacket and go outside. But then I walk back inside and there's a knife on the counter. And my brain says, oh, don't pick up that knife. You might stab your dog and you might kill it. Well, I just went outside and it's cold and my brain told me that I'm cold. So what? Obviously my brain is telling me that I could be a potential murderer of animals or even humans for that matter. So what do I do? What do I believe? I don't know what to believe. So maybe I really don't have OCD. I don't know. And then there it goes. There it goes. There it goes. But there's where, right there, that spiral is where that 1% is. That's where the 1% is. In your compulsions. In your ruminations, in this, I am trying to solve an unsolvable question. And I just think I'm smart enough to do it. No, you're not. You're not. But do you know who is? OCD therapists that do exposure response prevention. They are the ones that see this all the time. They understand it in and out. They can help teach you how to retrain your brain so you can start recognizing these fears of, is this HOCD or am I just in denial? Is this HOCD, or is this POCD and I'm just in denial that I'm a pedophile? Is this, violent intrusive thoughts, or am I really like latently down there? I'm going to just snap one day and murder a bunch of people. They will be able to help you manage all of this, to be able to show you that you can look at these thoughts. You can sit in these thoughts. Your brain wants to go here. It wants relief. It wants relief quick. You can't sit in that misery. We can't sit in that anxiety. But that's the treatment. And that's the tough part. And it takes a lot of strength and a lot of courage to go through with it. So to bring it right back, right before I wrap up here, HOCD or denial, the big question that most of us go down the rabbit hole going, well, maybe I'm just, maybe you are, maybe you aren't. But I know one way that you don't necessarily have to find out that answer, but you can find out how to sit in it and not let it rule your whole life on whether you need to know the answer today or tomorrow. And that is exposure response prevention. To find a therapist in your area or someone that can do Skype therapy across state lines and across country lines that can help you, contact me. This is what I do. I do consultations for referrals and resources for people that can help. Do not work with a therapist that does not do ERP. If they say, oh man, you know, I do a little, but I mostly do this. No, then you need to mostly go somewhere else. So contact me at ChrissyHodges.com. That's ChrissyHodges.com, or treatmentforOCD.com to find out more about my services and pricing. I also do peer support, which is sitting with you, talking to you about what it felt like for me, so you don't have to feel like you're walking this earth like an alien, because you are not. What you're going through is normal for someone who is suffering with OCD, even whether you want to believe that last 1% or not. And I know you're sitting there like, I'm the one out here that doesn't really have OCD. Oh, come on. Whether you are or you aren't, you need help to try to manage what you're going through. So let's chat. Let's figure out how to get you to somebody that can help. So that is my message for today. Thank you so much for joining me. This is one of the most debilitating disorders there is. OCD gets a lot of crap for just being like trivial and a little side of OCD with other major mental illnesses, but I'm going to tell you, it is. People die from this disorder. I almost died from this disorder, but there is effective treatment. Never forget that, and never forget that you are alone. I will be back tomorrow, and I will be coming live from Minnesota. Woo! And I'm not going to tell you what it's going to be yet, but you know it's going to be something. It's going to be sexual, violent, intrusive thoughts, something. But I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow evening. I hope you have a great day. And again, happy OCD Awareness Week. Talk to you soon.